Greetings, everyone. Well, last time we took a look at Super 8 on Blu-ray, which was one that I received as a belated birthday Blu-ray gift from dear old Mum. Today we're going to take a look at the other one that she gave me as, well, another belated birthday gift. This one's actually the first season of a TV series that's been hugely popular. It's a show from HBO based on a series of books, which unfortunately I've not read, but I will one of these days when I get the time. I just don't have time to sit down and read massive tomes of awesome that often. But as far as watching the show, I understand the show is quite faithful to the books, mostly. Certainly one of the most thorough adaptations this type of book has ever gotten. What am I talking about? Well, let's head on over to Blu-ray Shelf and to the Blu-ray Shelf. Let's head over to Blu-ray Shelf and we'll check it out. Now, this is one that I vaguely remember hearing about the books over the past X number of years, but not really having time to read as much as I would like to. I just never got around to checking them out. It's a very popular fantasy series, dark fantasy series, just epic in scope, and apparently there was a lot of interest in developing this as a movie or as a series of movies, but the author felt that doing it as a movie really wouldn't do justice to the depth of the story. So he actually actively pursued HBO to produce it as a miniseries, or as it transpires, basically doing one book per season, so an entire TV season devoted to each book. And the results have been nothing short of spectacular. Sharp-eyed viewers may have noticed in the Super 8 overview I did last time, may have seen it on the Sci-Fi Fantasy shelf. Well, let's head over there onto the Sci-Fi Fantasy Blu-ray shelf and see which one I'm talking about, as if you don't know already. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. That's right. I am, of course, talking about Game of Thrones, the complete first season on Blu-ray. This is a series that I actually introduced my mum to the last time she came out to visit, and we just marathoned all 10 episodes. She thought it was absolutely fantastic. And I know the kind of stuff she likes, and I know that she really enjoys, an in-depth fantasy adventure story or sci-fi story, that sort of thing. So I knew that this was going to be right up her alley, and she just fell in love with it. So much so that while she was here, she bought all 5 books. And she's currently in the middle of reading the first one. And then when the DVD and Blu-ray sets came out, she bought the DVD version, and then as a belated birthday gift, bought the Blu-ray set for little old me. Not too shabby. I'm definitely happy with this birthday gift. Anyway, let's take a look at it and see what all is on this set. This is a crazily deluxe set. The season itself is only 10 episodes. And you may be thinking, well, does that really justify the price tag? Because HBO season sets tend to be a bit pricey. This Blu-ray set goes for about 50 or 60 bucks, depending where you find it. But honestly, I think it's worth it, because they have jam-packed this set full of goodies that is sure to please any fan of the show and or the books. And that's what we're going to talk about today on the Multimedia Chronicles. Welcome back. Wow, Game of Thrones. What a great series. It's funny because Stoudman and I recently did a video. We were talking about The Walking Dead, and one of the subjects we discussed in that was when you take material from one medium and adapt it into another, how you can never do it verbatim. Well, apparently sometimes you can. Not all the time, it doesn't work with everything, but with Game of Thrones, it's pretty much verbatim, straight out of the book, from what I understand. I personally have not read the book, but in speaking to friends of mine who have read the books, they seemed pretty unanimous in their take on it, basically saying that it's the book brought to life. My mom, actually, when she was here to visit me, this was actually a belated birthday gift, and one that I could not be happier about. It's a fantastic set, which we'll look at in a moment. I introduced my mom to this, and she just loved it because I knew she would enjoy it because she loves epic fantasy type stuff. She doesn't really read a lot of it, but she enjoys she's a fan of Lord of the Rings and stuff like that. And I know she likes sci-fi and just really quality character driven drama pieces, and I knew that this was right up her alley, so we watched it, and she just loved it. And then she immediately went out and bought all the books. And when she was visiting, she was actually in the middle of reading the first book. So I asked her, I said, well, after seeing the series, because she bought the DVDs and she'd watched them through again a few times. So I asked her, after seeing the series a few times, how does the book compare? How faithful is the show to the book? And she said, well, the book is just like the show. And the only major difference that I'm aware of is apparently in the book, each chapter is done from the point of view of a specific character, and that one aspect was abandoned for the TV series for obvious reasons. I mean, you can't really that's something that's just a concept that works better in print than it would work on screen. So they don't have that aspect of it. But in terms of the events and the dialogue and the story, it is the book apparently. So yeah, so I guess Stout and I were wrong. Apparently sometimes you can do a verbatim adaptation and it does work. I guess it really just depends on the story. I guess you just kind of gotta take it on a case-by-case basis and decide from the get-go what you want to do. So apparently George Martin had been approached numerous times to have Game of Thrones adapted into movies. A lot of studios had approached him and such, and his thinking was just, you can't do that because the story is just so dense and so complex that to distill it down to a 2.5-3 hour movie per book or whatever just would not do it justice. So his thinking was the only studio that could possibly do it justice would be HBO. So he actually approached HBO himself and said, yeah, would you like to adapt my books as an ongoing miniseries, like with each season being one book, multiple episodes? And they said, hell yeah. And thank God they did. And they've been doing it right. And George Martin himself is actually an executive producer on the show, overseeing everything. And apparently he could not be happier with the job they've been doing. So the man himself gives it his blessing and is happy with how it's turned out. And I mean, as someone who's only seen the TV series and is taking that on its own merits, I can say, whether you've read the books or not, it is one hell of a good show. And as any good adaptation should, it has really sparked my interest in the source material, so I will definitely be picking up and reading the books at some point in the future. So, without any further ado, let's take a look at this gorgeous Blu-ray set. Yeah, HBO sets tend to be pretty expensive, but in all honesty, they do make it worth your while. This set is not only the most beautiful presentation imaginable. I mean, if you want an absolutely flawless looking Blu-ray that is a wonderful show-off disc, here you got 10-hour-long episodes to show off your system. They are absolutely beautiful, just flawless image quality, and you'll be amazed at the level of detail in them. So let's take a look at the packaging here. We actually have a big slip cover, which is quite nice. Got Sean Bean there on the Iron Throne, and I really like the sort of dark, sinister look to the whole thing. There was a backing to this. I'll grab the backing after. So you got the slipcover, and then in the slipcover you have this case, which is actually, I'll show you in a second. Yeah, it's actually a box with a digipack inside, so it's nice sturdy box. This is quality construction here, folks. So then you have this nice digipack, which has character photos all the way around. a lot of the main characters from Series 1 there. And it continues there. Sorry about the shadows and everything. And there. And there. So what we have is 5? Yeah, 5 discs. So it's 10 episodes spread across 5 discs. And each disc has extensive extras on it. I'll get into the extras in just a moment. But first off, I wanted to show you this insert that we get with it here, which is quite nice. Just folding up the road map there. Very cool. So first off, you have this nice booklet. Gives you the gives you the breakdown of the special features there. And I've got stuff falling out. Sorry. Yeah, inside you just sort of have some standard notices. You got your keep your firmware up to date. HBO is awesome. There you go. And then here, I actually have some Game of Thrones merchandise you can get. What's this one? This is a, it's the Iron Throne paperweight. That's pretty cool. And you got T-shirts and mugs and stuff like that. So not a ton of merchandise, but what there is actually pretty classy. I like the cups there, and you can get the soundtrack as well, which is pretty cool. So very nice indeed. And then so let's go over the special features here real quick. So first off, you have all 10 episodes of season 1 there, and inside you actually have a breakdown of the various houses and the characters from each house and how they're all related to each other. So that's pretty cool. Then you also have a map of Westeros, whatever, however you pronounce it. So this is the entire world that the series is set in, with all the major locations marked off, and it is just beautiful. So, okay, so in terms of special features, we have all the stuff from the DVD edition, which is Making Game of Thrones, which is a 30-minute feature. An exclusive 30-minute feature including never-before-seen footage from the set and interviews from the cast and crew. Creating the Show Open, an inside look at the creation of the Emmy-winning opening title sequence for Game of Thrones. It is a really cool title sequence, I have to say. I always found it really striking. From the book to the screen, executive producers David Benioff and D.B. Weiss and author George R.R. Martin talk about the challenges of bringing Martin's epic fantasy novel to life on HBO. Character profiles. Profiles of 15 major characters as described by the actors portraying them. The Night's Watch, an in-depth look at the unique order of men who patrol and protect the Wall, a 700-foot ice structure that separates the Seven Kingdoms from the darkness beyond. Yes, the Wall is actually at the far north of Westeros. Creating the Dothraki language, an insightful glance into the comprehensive language created for the Dothraki people in Game of Thrones. They actually created an actual language, like a proper language for them in that. And then audio commentaries. You have 7 audio commentaries with cast and crew, including David Benioff, D.B. Weiss, George R.R. Martin, Emilia Clarke, Peter Dinklage, Kit Harington, and more. I love the fact that George Martin is so deeply involved with the production of this series. I mean, because it's his creation from the ground up. It all sprung from his fertile imagination, and it's great stuff. You know, it's just great that he's so heavily involved with it. I mean, HBO is just freaking awesome for doing that. And then we have the Blu-ray exclusive special features. Blu-ray Complete Guide to Westeros. This is really cool, and this is one of the big reasons to get the Blu-ray. I was checking some of this out the other day. An interactive compendium of the noble houses and lands featured in Season 1, plus 24 exclusive histories of the Seven Kingdoms as told by the characters themselves. So they actually have the actors in character as their characters from the show, giving you these background histories. And it's all like animated with artwork and stuff like that, and it's just this beautifully put together interactive history. And the thing that's cool about it is you have a couple of options of how you can check these out. You can have it as sort of an interactive feature that plays during the episodes, like at key points in the episode, you'll get an option to check out, some history and background information, or you can just watch you can work your way through the history by yourself, like on your own, independently. And each disc has pieces of the history that pertain to the episodes on that disc. So it's all very disc specific and episode specific, and it just gives you a much deeper, more rich experience, because it really is a very broad, complex, detailed world that it takes place in. Not just, there's a huge back history to it, which is referred to throughout the course of the story by the characters, but there's also all the intricate relationships between the characters and the various houses vying for control of the Iron Throne and whatnot. Then you have Anatomy of an Episode, an in-episode experience that explores the creative minds and colossal efforts behind Episode 6, A Golden Crown. That takes up an entire Blu-ray disc. You have Episode 6 is the only actual episode on that disc. Everything else is all about the making of that episode. So you get to see in detail all the work that goes into the creation of just one episode of Game of Thrones. And if that doesn't give you further appreciation for just how much work goes into this series, I don't know what will. In-episode guide, an in-feature resource that provides background information about on-screen characters, locations, and relevant histories while each episode plays. Oh, okay. So that's actually different from my mistake. That's actually different from the Complete Guide to Westeros. That's the in-episode version where it gives you information as you watch. And then you've got hidden dragon eggs. Not Easter eggs, dragon eggs. They're bigger. Find the hidden dragon eggs to uncover even more never-before-seen content. Whew! For a single season of an HBO series that only has 10 episodes, that's a pretty robust package of extras. To me, as far as I'm concerned, the extras alone are worth the price of admission. It is just a fantastic collection. And if they're going to do this kind of thing for every season, wow, just sign me up right now. I'm absolutely going to collect these season sets as they come out. My mom pointed something out, and maybe some of you noticed this as well. One of the reasons she was enjoying Game of Thrones so much is because she likens it to Lord of the Rings as being a fantasy adventure story that is of the same scale, because it has the same sort of richness of background information and layers and depth and lots of characters and histories and whatnot to it, like Lord of the Rings does. Lord of the Rings, of course, was done by George R.R. Tolkien. Game of Thrones is by George R.R. Martin. I wonder if the R.R. is a coincidence, or if it's just guys who have two middle names that start with R grow up to be amazing fantasy authors. Who knows? Let me see if I can find the backing for that. I wanted to show you. Yeah, here we are. So let me just put everything together again here real quick. And like magic, it's back together. Okay, so this is the backing. Generally, when you see it on the shelf, it will look something like this, just to indicate that it's the Blu-ray edition. And again, all those of you who are annoyed by the Blu-ray bar, rest assured that it only exists on the backing. So when you remove the backing, you actually have the beautiful, gorgeous package. And the only indication that it's a Blu-ray disc is just the little tiny logo on the spine there. That, as I mentioned in another recent update, that seems to be becoming the trend now, is not putting the Blu-ray stuff all over the place and cluttering up the nice, beautiful design of the packaging. So we are actually starting to get the same packaging, like deluxe packaging, on the Blu-ray editions that we were getting on the DVDs. That was like the one big complaint I was seeing people have. But it's like, well, okay, great, Blu-ray, the disc content is better, but the packaging looks so ugly. And it's like, well, yeah, it did kind of, didn't it? But we seem to be moving away from that finally, now that the format has matured. So we're actually getting properly deluxe-looking deluxe editions. So this is the back of the backing, which basically just gives you all the same information that we went through before. Just, it gives you a box here of the Blu-ray exclusives, and then all the other extras here. So there's quite a lot of additional material on the Blu-ray that I think is absolutely worth paying the, $10 extra to get the Blu-ray edition. I generally see this set going for $60. We bought it at Future Shop where it was going for, I think, $50. So, yeah, $10 less than everywhere else. But, absolutely worth it, because I know that this is a series that I'm going to revisit again and again and again. And, all the content that's on there is, it'll take you quite a while to get through it all. So, enjoy! So if you're looking for a high-quality, dark fantasy adventure series that's really going to, challenge you as a viewer, because you really got to pay attention, and it pays to watch it a few times to pick up on stuff. I'm currently on my third viewing of the first season, while simultaneously watching the second season as it airs, and which just started this past week, actually, at the time of this recording. Yeah, and every time I watch it, I pick up on stuff that I missed before. It's incredibly, it's like War and Peace. It's like a fantasy, but on the scale of War and Peace. That's kind of the best way to put it. Any big complex story with a massive cast is War and Peace. Babylon 5 is War and Peace in space. Well, Game of Thrones is War and Peace in a dark fantasy setting. I will warn you as well, one of the reasons you wanted HBO to do it is because there's a heck of a lot of sex and violence in it. Which, of course, is fine. HBO has no problem with that. But if they'd done it as a movie, I'm sure that would have been cut down somewhat. But so rest assured, it has all the sex and violence fully intact. Yeah. Alrighty, well, that is it from me to you for now, so check out Game of Thrones if you haven't yet. It is just fantastic, and a wonderful, enriching, really genuinely refreshing series in an otherwise stagnant TV universe. Yeah, it's great stuff. I think it's one of the best shows on television right now, if not the best show on television right now, at least the best that I've seen. But it's definitely, in like the top 5 TV shows on TV right now, I think. Alrighty, that is it from me to you for now. Until next time, thank you for watching, and sayonara. Welcome back. Wow. Game of Thrones. How's that for an opening line? Wow. Game of Thrones. That's, yeah. Welcome back. Game of Thrones. It's 2 in the morning. Coffee's running out. As someone who has only seen the TV series, yeah. And my brain just seized up.